Bible and Archaeology. The Bible is an ancient book, and archaeology is the study of ancient things. So it's only natural that the two would be connected. In this article, we'll explore some of the ways that archaeology has helped to confirm the accuracy of the Bible. 1. The Dead Sea Scrolls. In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd discovered some ancient scrolls in a cave near the Dead Sea. These scrolls turned out to be the oldest copies of the Old Testament ever found. They were written between 250 BC and AD 68, and they included every book of the Old Testament except Esther. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls is important for several reasons. First, it confirmed that the Old Testament we have today is very similar to what was originally written. Second, since these scrolls date back almost 2,000 years, it shows that the Bible has been accurately preserved over time. And third, it gives us a better understanding of how the Bible was written and how it was used in ancient times. 2. The city of Lachish. The Old Testament tells us that during the Babylonian invasion of Judah, around 600 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar destroyed many cities, including Lachish, 2 Kings 18:13-19:8. Several hundred years later, an archaeologist named James Leslie Starkey began excavating Lachish. He found that just as the Bible said, Nebuchadnezzar's army had destroyed part of Lachish. What is archaeology? Archaeology is the study of human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts. Archaeologists use a variety of techniques to uncover and interpret evidence of past cultures. This evidence can be used to answer questions about how people lived in the past, what they believed in, and what kind of impact they had on the world around them. The Bible and Archaeology. The Bible is an ancient book, and archaeology can help us to understand it better. Archaeologists have found evidence that supports many of the events recorded in the Bible. For example, they have found the remains of a palace in Jerusalem that was built by King Solomon, just as the Bible says. They have also found the ruins of a city called Sodom, which was destroyed by God because of the sinfulness of its people, as the Bible describes. Archaeology can also help us to understand the culture and customs of the people who lived in Bible times. For example, we know from archaeological findings that people in Bible times used different kinds of cosmetics than we do today. We also know that they had different ideas about hygiene. By studying these things, we can get a better understanding of what life was like for people in Bible times. If you're interested in learning more about the Bible and archaeology, there are lots of resources available. You can start by doing a search online, or checking out some of the books and articles listed below. Resource list: The Bible and Archaeology, by James K. Hoffmeyer. Archaeology and the Old Testament, the difference between historical and biblical archaeology. There are many different between historical and biblical archaeology. The first difference is that historical archaeology is the study of people and cultures in the past, while biblical archaeology is the study of the Bible and its history. Historical archaeology can be used to study any culture in the past, while biblical archaeology is specifically focused on the history of the Bible. Another difference is that historical archaeology often uses scientific methods to study the past, while biblical archaeology relies more heavily on historical sources such as the Bible. Historical archaeologists may use techniques such as radiocarbon dating to date artifacts, while biblical archaeologists often use textual analysis to interpret the Bible. Finally, historical archaeology is typically secular in nature, while biblical archaeology is often religious or faith-based. This means that historical archaeologists may not believe in the Bible as a literal historical document, while biblical archaeologists may believe that the Bible is divinely inspired and contains absolute truths. These are just a few of the many differences between historical and biblical archaeology. Both fields are important for understanding different aspects of our past, and both can be used to learn more about the history of the Bible. Methods in archaeology. There are many different methods that archaeologists use in order to study the Bible and other ancient texts. Some of these methods include: 1. Reading and interpreting the text itself. This is perhaps the most obvious method, but it is also the most difficult, as there can be a lot of interpretation involved. 2. Using other ancient sources. This can be helpful in understanding the context of the Bible, as well as helping to fill in gaps in our knowledge. 3. Studying the physical remains of ancient civilizations. This includes things like ruins, art, and pottery. By studying these remains, we can learn a lot about how people lived during biblical times. 4. Conducting experiments. This is often done in order to test theories about how certain things were done in ancient times. For example, experiments have been conducted in order to determine how people built the pyramids. 5. Using modern technology. This includes things like radiocarbon dating and DNA analysis. These techniques can help us to better understand the Bible and other ancient texts. How does archaeology help us understand the Bible? Archaeology can help us understand the Bible in a number of ways. First, it can help us to understand the historical context in which the Bible was written. This can give us a better understanding of what the authors of the Bible were trying to communicate. Second, archaeology can help us to understand the culture of the people who wrote the Bible. This can give us insight into their values and beliefs. Finally, archaeology can help us to understand the physical environment in which the Bible was written. This can help us to understand how the events described in the Bible unfolded. Bible stories that have been supported by archaeology. The Bible is an ancient book, and many of the stories it tells have been corroborated by archaeological findings. Here are some examples: the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. These cities, which were destroyed by God because of their wickedness, have been found in the Middle East. Archaeologists have found evidence of fire and brimstone, sulfur, in the area, which is consistent with the biblical account. The Exodus. Evidence has been found that supports the idea that the Israelites did in fact flee Egypt. This includes things like chariot wheels and Egyptian artifacts in the Red Sea. King David. David was a real king who ruled over Israel in the 10th century BCE. His palace has been found by archaeologists, and there is other evidence that supports his existence. These are just a few examples of how archaeology has helped to support the Bible stories. It is amazing to think about how these ancient events have been corroborated by modern science. Conclusion: there is no question that the Bible contains a wealth of historical information. And there is also no question that archaeology has provided us with a great deal of insight into the lives of people in Bible times. But does that mean that the Bible can be trusted as an accurate record of history? The answer to that question is not simple. There are certainly many instances where archaeology has confirmed the accuracy of the Bible, but there are also times when it seems to contradict what the Bible says. Ultimately, whether or not you believe that the Bible is an accurate record of history depends on your own personal worldview and presuppositions.